Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and welcome to my channel. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 10, The Moody Month-iversaries. This is a quick therapist review, as these couples give us great material to work with in order to learn from couples, learn about relationships, and what gets in the way of communication? What gets in the way of all of this? Let's find out. Let's find out. And there's been definitely some bumps in communication and some wins in communication this episode. So if you are returning, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join in the conversation below. Now let's get into it. First, we have Miguel and Lindy. Miguel cooks, okay? Miguel was making this breakfast for Lindy, and she is appreciating all of it. I'm like, okay, Miguel, all right, I see you. Miguel and Lindy are going on this boat ride for their month-iversary, and I thought it was funny to note that Miguel was wearing the shirt that all the ladies bought for their husbands. I guess he really liked it. And he was talking about this article he read about consistency and how that's really important in marriage, and how Lindy is consistently inconsistent. And so that gives him like a pattern to kind of know what to expect from her. And that Miguel said that he has seen her at her worst. And Lindy said, oh, no. No, you have not. You have not seen me at my worst. And even last week's episode, she told him as such and so. He said, oh, well, maybe I haven't. And so maybe there's a part of him that's hoping that what he has seen is the worst. But she did state that she has like this inner child, this angry inner child that comes out and has an explosion or an outburst. And so she's been really working and monitoring that and managing that. She talked about how Miguel has been really like a calm to her storm, and she's not as nervous or anxious as she usually is. She's normally biting her nails, and now she's not biting her nails anymore. And she said that, Miguel just needs to keep on accepting her as he's doing, and he's doing a swimmingly good job, as she said. And, there's a part of me that's like, I wonder what that means. Like, I wonder what that means to her. There's a part of me that feels like I know what that means to her. Like, she's secure as long as he's accepting all of her. That's her security. And what I believe is happening is that she is externalizing that need for acceptance onto Miguel instead of her accepting all of her. That's going to be difficult if Miguel says that he is disapproving of her. She seems to have the wound of not feeling accepted, not feeling truly accepted in her, especially this part of her. It seems like this has received a lot of criticism, a lot of harsh criticism, and even there's a part of her that doesn't like this part that uses outbursts to communicate, to meet a need, to protect herself. And so it'll be interesting to see when Miguel says that this is something that he's not okay with, as Miguel is very open and honest, and it seems like that's how he's protecting himself in this situation. He's going to be honest because he doesn't want to excuse behavior that he's not okay with. He's done that in the past, so this is the way he's protecting himself from that. And this also explains why Lindy a few episodes ago was saying, hey, if you have a problem with me, just don't tell me. Just don't tell me. Don't let me in on that, because that is going to activate the wound of rejection for her. That, again, is something that she's making Miguel's responsibility. That's hers. It's her responsibility. So they are back home. They're going through their memories of their month-iversary. And Lindy, she is being hypercritical of herself. She's like, oh my God, I look so awkward, at our first kiss. And look at this awkward conversation. And Miguel's like, it wasn't awkward for me. This is just how it was. And she said, I felt awkward. So this is letting us in on a part of Lindy holding some insecurities, again, about her acceptance. Like, oh, how do I do this? Like, there's a part of her that is like hyper vigilant about what she needs to do and how she needs to present herself in order to be accepted, which which makes a lot of sense when you think about her family and how controlling they were and how intrusive they were in regards to her relationship with Miguel. Even though he set boundaries and communicated like, hey, God's not really something that's on the forefront for me. And they communicated, hey, he is for us. And so you need to think about that. And Miguel's already made this decision. He's already made this decision. So this makes sense. If she's had this very controlling family, then there's a part of her that feels unsure about herself, and there's like some lack of confidence there because she hasn't been able to truly develop her sense of self to know what's right and wrong for her. There's a part of her that's just been guessing and saying like, okay, I need to monitor. I need to be hyper aware and monitor someone's facial expressions, their body language, all of that to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to be accepted in their eyes. And she talked about too at the dinner how she has really tempered and worked on her anxiety out of respect for Miguel, which she talked about at the couples session. And so I'm curious on how long this will continue. Miguel stated that he is happy. He felt like his marriage is going great and he is pleased with where it is. I'm curious if he's going to feel the same as Lindy shows all of her parts, all the parts of her. And none of them are bad. None of them are bad. These are all ways that she's used to protect herself. And at the same time, she's going to have to take care of herself. I do see, though, I have to give her a little credit that she is monitoring her feelings and communicating effectively. And at the same time, I know that those tools are great. Those tools are awesome. But the wound is still there. And when it's activated, not if, when it's activated or triggered, then Lindy's protectors will show up. They will show up. So we shall see. Next, we have Stacia and Nate. And so Stacia is meeting with her mother. They got this baking date, which is cute. And Stacia's telling her mother about how she is not feeling secure in this relationship. She's got trust issues. She has been hurt. She has been disappointed. She has been let down. And so she needs the reassurance in the moment, right now, give it to me now, to feel safe in this relationship. All the things that he's promising her is future, and that's not enough for her. And so her mother's trying to reassure her that, hey, especially in a relationship that is married at first sight, there needs to be some level of trust to see what he brings to the table, to see what work he does before you dismiss him, as you cannot control him. She said it in a much nicer way. She said you can't keep picking at the scab and it heal up and then keep picking at it and keep picking at it. There has to be peace there. And so her mother encouraged her to continue to move forward and wait for him. It's only been a month. Stacia's mother did say, though, that there's a part of her that feels responsible because of what Stacia witnessed when she was in a really difficult and unhealthy relationship. So I'm curious if she's talking about her stepfather, because that was the relationship her mother was in when she became emancipated. So putting some pieces together here. And also, Stacia stated that in the past, she has been too trusting. She has trusted too soon, and she doesn't want to make that mistake. So there's a part of her that's protecting her from that wound of trusting too soon and getting hurt and demanding things. And it's demanding it now. And we still see this part active too, the part that is trusting too fast, that's moving too fast. I'm not saying that she's not supposed to change her last name, but changing her last name like right after the marriage, that was fast. I think that's the fastest I've seen in Married at First Sight history. That was pretty fast. And she wants Nate to meet her same energy. She wants Nate to meet her with the same energy, and that's just not where he is. That's not where he is. But this part is not willing to accept that. It's not. And this is going to be dangerous territory for their relationship as we continue to see this episode. So we do see one area that Stacia is willing to bend on, as Nate wants a dog. She does not, but she is going to babysit Luna as a way to show Nate that, hey, I'm open to this. I'm open to this. But when Krysten shows all the things that are needed to take care of Luna, Stacia is a bit overwhelmed by all these doggy duties, and yes, pun intended. And she said, you're going to have to pick up the poop, Stacia. You're going to have to do it. And she's like, me? The uncomfortably clean person is going to have to clean up dog poop. And we also see in their next scene where Stacia and Nate, they go to sign their post-nup and they work out the agreements, and Nate is saying that he feels like this is him showing that he's serious about this relationship, and also like he's respecting her, and that he's not trying to take anything from her. Maybe there's a part of Nate that is making him feel like he has a choice, or he had a choice in the post-nup. He actually didn't have a choice in the post-nup. And it seems like this part is also continuing to show up as they are celebrating their month anniversary. Oh my goodness, their dinner was so cute. They had the roses like falling down. I said, oh my goodness, who did this setup? Okay, I digress. And Nate did communicate to her that he felt like she dismissed all his efforts, all of his trying that he has been doing, and it hurt him. It hurt him that she kept trying to demand that he say that he is in love with her when he's not there yet. And then he says, hey, but I am falling in love with you. And I'm at a 7 and an 8 now, even though that was just last week. But he's saying that because they have gone over this hurdle, this obstacle, that has helped him to feel more secure in this relationship. I believe that there is a part of Nate that is doing this to appease Stacia. That is what I believe. I don't know if he's truly where he says he is. He's doing that to appease her, to really take her off of his back. And at the same time, I feel like this is going to bite them in the butt. I feel like this is going to bite them. Oh, this is going to be a disaster when again it comes out that he's not there. He's not where he said he was. Just like when he said, I'm falling in love with you before. And then she realized that was meaning that he was just at a 4. Now he's falling in love again, and he's at a 7 or 8. This is no bueno. This demanding part of Stacia that does not bend, that needs things right away, and how she wants it is going to continue to eat away at Nate. It is. And we saw the aggression that he had, and he has these snarky ways that he does talk about it. He called her out of her name. He said at the group dinner, the month anniversary dinner, that, hey, I'm the calm one. And she said, oh, you're the calm one? And that took her a bit back. I think also to get at Stacia after a while, that this digging that they're going back and forth. She's demanding. He's kind of throwing darts, undercover, throwing a dart, then hiding under a bushel kind of thing. That's key ingredients for a future explosion. And another way that Stacia's demanding part shows up is she wakes Nate up and says, hey, our month anniversary gift, we're going to get tattoos. We're going to get matching tattoos. As this shows, this is an action right now, a tangible action right now. Not future, but now. Not future, but now. Stacia, I want to hug her. I want to hug her. Like, I'm saying it with a smile, but very serious, because I know that there's a part of her that is feeling unsafe, that's feeling unsteady. So I know why. I know why this demanding part is showing up. I have grace for it. I have compassion for it. And at the same time, I don't think that she truly understands. Like there's a part of her that says, oh, I know I'm not having enough patience. She said it with her mother. She said it on the after party last week. I'm not having enough patience, and I'm not letting Nate show me. I'm making Nate show me. And that is, no one likes to be controlled. No one likes to be controlled. But when someone is being controlled, it's because it's out of fear. It's out of fear for the other person. It's out of fear for whatever's happening. And Stacia, she's got some work that she needs to do. And she did say that. She did say that she's realizing, hey, I've been in therapy and I thought I had some work to do. But marriage will tell you. Let me tell you. Marriage and parenting will tell you and show you where your true wounds are. Because those are very vulnerable places. And so it shows. Show those places where you have been protecting yourself. And when we are in protection mode, when we are in defensive mode and making sure that we are never going to get hurt again and doing things to orchestrate to make sure that doesn't happen, that is when the other person lets us know that, hey, this doesn't feel good. This does not feel good. And Nate told her this, but she's still persisting. And it's going to come up again. It's going to come up again. I have to note, just a little aside, that Stacia's earrings at the group dinner, super cute. And also an interesting observation at the group dinner is that Nate is saying, I just really wanted a best friend. And Stacia is my best friend. After a month, she's your best friend? I don't know if is he being, I don't know what's happening. I understand presenting as a united front. I get that. And at the same time, Stacia's my best friend after a month. Is she? Are you sure, Nate? I don't think so. But there's a part of him that's saying that, and I really believe that it's just to appease Stacia. Here, you have what you want, but it's inauthentic, and that's going to be trouble. That is going to be trouble in the near future. Oh, that's going to be trouble. Next, we have Kristen and Mitch. Kristen is meeting her friend, making candles, and she's giving an update about her marriage. She's like, I feel like this is a great marriage. This is a wonderful marriage. And so her friend is like, oh, so do you feel like this is a great fit? And Kristen said, well, I didn't say that. She said, well, you did say it's a great marriage. I think there's definitely a part of Kristen, we've talked about this, that's not really being truly honest with herself. There's a part of her that's very accommodating to Mitch. And she talked about how these last comments about her dreams of wanting to flip houses and his part that judged her and criticized her for that she's really having a hard time sitting with that. She's really having a hard time accepting that because she has done so much work to accommodate him. And so there's some things that are starting to wake up within her, and we continue to see that in the episode. I got something for Kristen, okay? She also said that she's concerned about her parents not being okay with how she's being treated in this relationship. And I hear her. Yeah, your parents may have that concern, but I'm wondering if she's also like indirectly saying that there's some things that she's not okay with, that she's not okay with how she's being treated in this relationship. And it's hard for her to communicate that because her fear of it not working. She's wanted this so much. She has this fear, like, I'm my only single friend. Remember, I'm my only single friend with no children. I've had a failed engagement that was very public, and we all went to our destination wedding without the groom. And now I'm in this very public situation again. I have made my dad accept this and walk me down the aisle in the same day. This is a high stakes situation for Kristen, and she is showing up in a very patient and accommodating way. She truly is. And at the same time, we see that it is wearing on her. It is wearing on her. And at the same time, she's still giving it the good old college try, as they say. She told her friend that I'm going to be the best wife. And so that means that he's going to be the best version of himself. This is an assumption. This really is an assumption. There's a part of her that believes that if I'm my best self, then the other person's going to show up in their best self. That's not a fact. You can be your best self and the other person just appreciate it. And that's really what's been happening with Mitch. He is doing some work. He truly is. I don't want to discount that. And at the same time, even Mitch himself said when they were going for their getaway for their month anniversary, which I thought was really cute, and they went for yoga, and Mitch was making those loud sounds during yoga, which reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen the videos of the Grinch doing yoga and how he was like screaming during the yoga classes. That was Mitch. And they were reading their vows, and Krysten has kept her vows, and Mitch said in his confessional, judge me if you want, but I really don't feel like I've really stayed true to my vows, and I've judged my wife, and that has caused some hurt and even some damage to our relationship. So he's aware of it. He's aware of it. So at the group dinner, Mitch is giving his update about how he feels about their marriage. As Krysten said, no, you go first. I'm not leading the way this time. And he said, well, I've been on this journey, and I really realized I've just been on this journey with myself, and I didn't know if I really was going to be a husband. I didn't know if I had what it takes to be a husband. And, this has been a lot for me. And Krysten is becoming undone. She's becoming undone. The words that she said that just hit the room, that you could just tell like the frustration has reached a new high, is I came into this already a wife, and you married a stranger not knowing if you were a husband. That is not okay. That is not okay. And now I am really feeling like I am sacrificing parts of myself. I'm not being my true, authentic self because I'm bending so much for you. And I'm going to snap. I am going to snap. There's a part of her that has been saying, well, Mitch can't do that, and Mitch doesn't like that, and Mitch doesn't like that, and Mitch doesn't like that. Bravo, Krysten. I really appreciate the fact that there's a part of her that's going to speak up. It's going to speak up for her. We saw it last week at the picnic on the beach. Like, no, I need you to appreciate me, just not this gesture, but appreciate me and how I have been showing up for you. And she's like, again, I'm bending too much. I'm bending too much, and this is becoming too much. And Mitch met her. Mitch met her and said, you know what? I want you to communicate with me when you are not pleased. I need to know that. I want you to be your true self. I have space to hear that. I have space to hear that. That's really what he said. And he even echoed this at the after party, saying he felt like when he told her that he wasn't attracted to her on their honeymoon, that created this unfair power dynamic in their relationship where she felt like she had to prove herself to him to be accepted. And he's glad that she had this moment of clarity so that it can reestablish the power dynamic in their relationship for her to be able to be her true self and say what she likes and what she doesn't. There's also a part of me that was curious if there was a way that Mitch could have communicated that to her. He tried. I saw that he tried at the honeymoon, but that was like when it was still fresh. But just to continue to reassure her, like, hey, I know that, this is our housewarming. Like, are there any things that you want to do? Like, his behavior also communicated to her that he wanted her to bend to him. I'm hoping he's going to back up these words with action, and truly bend for her. Because also the shirt, hello, the shirt, he said, why couldn't I just, he said at the after party, why couldn't I just have continued to wear the shirt or even just put a sweater over it if that was such a big deal for me? The actions have to match these words, Mitch. They have to. If you have a space for her, make sure your actions have a space for her too, because if your behavior is telling her that no, if you don't bend, I'm not pleased. If you don't bend, I'm not pleased. And she has to always be the calm one. She has to always be the one to bring you down. She has to always be the one, the voice of reason when you're activated, when you're triggered. Then that's going to put herself in a position where she is always self-sacrificing. That's not okay. That's not okay. So we shall see if Mitch's words at the dinner table matches his actions. Because Krysten deserves it. She truly does. She's been working hard. She has been working hard for this marriage. Next we have Morgan and Binh. Whew, goodness. Here we go. So Morgan is meeting with her friend to tell her about how Binh is still going behind her back and telling Justin things about their marriage after the debacle about are you a nurse, are you not a nurse situation that happened at the honeymoon that she made him pay for a long time. Morgan told her friend that Alexis told her that Binh is talking about her in a way that's like bad mouthing her and really not about like who she truly is as a person and defaming like her character. That's how Morgan is presenting this, and that's how Alexis presented to Morgan. Venting about your spouse in anger creates a picture where the person is only hearing the stuff that your spouse is doing wrong, all the negative things. And anger's language, when our parts are angry, the way our parts communicate in anger usually don't have any compassion or any grace, and they don't see the full picture. And so the receiving party doesn't get the full picture of what's happening and usually focuses on the negative. And so that's why Alexis is feeling like Binh is painting her in this horrible light. I also wish that Alexis would have handled this a little differently. Alexis stated that she does regret the decision she made and wishes that she would have told Morgan to have a conversation with Binh, or vice versa. Or my 2 cents. My 2 cents is, hey, Justin, I know Ben's talking to you about all the frustrations that he's having with Morgan. Check in with him to see if he's communicating that with Morgan, because she needs to know that he has these concerns. And maybe he's scared because he doesn't know how to talk to her about it, because he's trying to work his way back into her good graces. But this is something that she needs to know. That's my preference, right? That's my preference in how this could have been handled. What I feel like is happening in this situation is the blind leading the blind. Justin and Binh have bonded over their people-pleasing parts that they both have, and the parts of them that avoid conflict. They don't do conflict well. Binh will bend to appease and try to diffuse the situation in any way that he can, and he will withhold information very similar to Justin. And so that's why they get along well. That's why they get along very well, and they have and they've built this brotherhood or camaraderie, and at the same time they're the blind leading the blind, because they both don't have this skill to be able to communicate in conflict, and they both feel like any wrong move that they will make with either of their spouses could be the end of their relationship. Okay. And so for Binh, he feels like he doesn't have a voice in this relationship because he's had to pay for this mistake for a while. Like he's trying, and now it's at a space where it has blown up. It has blown up their marriage. It has completely unraveled their marriage. Morgan leaves the apartment, and she wakes up alone on their month anniversary, disappointed, saying this is not how she wanted this situation to unfold, of course. And she's planning on meeting Binh face to face to hear him out, even though she doesn't want to see him. But then we see this scene where she's going in to work out. She's doing her Muay Thai. And she's like, I'm prepared. I'm preparing to see him, and he doesn't know what's coming. There's a part of Morgan that is protecting herself from this hurt in fight mode. And this fighter that she has, this fighter part that she has is relentless, and it continues to punish. It continues to throw punches at the person who hurt her so they can truly understand how what they did made her feel. They can truly get and see how it hurt her. And we see this part when they come together, and Binh, he's hoping for reconciliation. He's like, I'm really hoping that Morgan is still willing to work on this. He's got long stem roses, and he hands it to her and says, hey, be careful, because these thorns, they can hurt you. And she drops the roses on the ground and begins to tell him that her vows were for a person who was going to be loyal to her. Her vows were a person who was going to have her back. Her vows were for a person, and she just goes on and on. And it clicked for me that, oh, Morgan's speaking to her dad in this moment, meaning that Binh is paying for her father's hurt. And she views Binh's actions as betrayal. That's the impact. The impact of his not knowing how to deal with conflict, or not knowing what to do, because Morgan is still in a place where she is holding this mistake that was pretty small over his head. He's like, there are other issues that I have, and I don't really even feel like I have a space to talk about it in my marriage, so I'm going to talk about it with my friend Justin. And she views this as betrayal, and she's making him pay for her father's stuff. She said something last episode. She said, I always wanted a husband that would do anything that I said. And I think that's very true for her. She wants someone who's going to finally do what she asked them to do. When someone doesn't do that is a sign of betrayal, that they're not being true to her. They're not standing by her. And not realizing that her husband's going to be a human. Like, her husband this part has a very young place, and it has some beliefs that aren't rational, because her husband is going to be a human. Her husband's going to do things that she doesn't like. And her husband is going to need a space. He's going to need a space. If he doesn't have one with you, he's going to need a space to talk about what's happening, to work it out, as she's talking to her friend about their marriage, right? She sat down and talked to her friend at the beginning of the episode about her marriage. She talked to her guy friend on the phone to get a male perspective about the marriage. I don't understand why Binh doesn't have that space. And I don't know if there's this unwritten rule, because Alexis did say that, talking about it in the maths world, right, and how things can blow up because of that. And so talking to friends outside of that, talking to friends outside of the maths world is different than talking to the other couples, because that's something that she did not want him to do. And I truly could wager that there's a part of Binh that is protecting himself and her from the scrutiny of his friends and family. And so it's like, I don't want to talk about these things with them, because then they're really going to see these negative things about Morgan, and I want them to like her. I just also need a space to talk about it. This reaction of dropping the roses on the ground, and her even saying, after the producers talk her, to coming back and having dinner with him, that she's going to stay. She said, it would be easy. It would be easy for me to leave. But no, I'm going to stay, because you're going to have to see me. You're going to have to see me, and I'm going to make you understand how you've hurt me. I'm going to make sure you get it. You hear that? This is bigger than Binh. This is bigger than Binh. He's paying for stuff that's not even his. And I'm hoping that the experts will show her that. I'm hoping that the experts will show her that her wounds are true and real. And at the same time, the punishment that Binh is receiving, is so harsh. It's not meeting, like it's not matching the crime. It's not matching the crime at all. And that's something that Morgan's going to have to sit with and assess and understand for herself, if she has the awareness or if she has a space to do that. Because even Binh trying to communicate with her, she did not give him any leeway to really truly communicate. He was trying to be dishonest. He was, and trying to smooth over the situation. Again, like Justin, like Form, they are brothers for sure. They are brothers for sure. But even once he later told her, like, yeah, I have been. I was just venting to Justin, and I was just telling him my frustrations. I don't see them coming back from this at all. Didn't see them coming back from the honeymoon situation. Truly, definitely not this. I don't feel like either of them are really truly prepared for marriage. Unfortunately, we'll just continue to see how this plays out, but I really see this being a no on decision day, because it's already a no. She's already made up her mind. And this relationship and the way it's going isn't safe for Binh. It truly isn't, because he doesn't have a voice. He does not have a voice. He can't even communicate his point of view without being attacked or without being talked over. So yeah, so that's where we're at. Last but not least, we have Alexis and Justin. Justin is meeting with his brother to go fishing, and Alexis is meeting with her friend to give their updates about the marriage. And Justin's brother saying, "Hey, all right, tell me how it's going on. Tell me what's the update." And Justin saying, "Whew, marriage is hard." And his brother's laughing. He said, "I told you." I told you. And Justin said he's learning things about himself that he didn't know. He's like, I do these outbursts, and Alexis is calling me out on it. Here's the difficult part. In a marriage, you learn things about yourself that you haven't seen before. You do. And there's a part of you that becomes defensive about it, because you're like, nobody's ever said this to me before, right? There's a part that defends and even denies what the other person is saying, and they have to almost like campaign for the truth, campaign to even tell you, especially if you don't have the self-awareness. And we know Justin, that's still an area of growth for him. He's struggling, and Alexis even speaks to this about how she has to manage her emotions and Justin's emotions at the same time. She has to tell him when he needs to take a moment to debrief with himself and to be able to communicate how he feels. And so when he has his emotional outbursts, he says things that are hurtful to her, and it's hard to come back from that. Alexis stated to her friend that she's in a place where she's like, it's feeling like excuses because it's the same issue over and over again. And I understand her perspective. I understand how she sees that, because she really wants him to grow. She wants him to stop doing this behavior. And at the same time, the learning curve for Justin is going to be, it's going to be a long journey. And I think that's going to be the issue in this marriage. This learning curve that Justin has, because he is truly clueless. He is truly clueless about the damage. He is truly clueless about the impact and the damage and the hurt that he's causing for Alexis. And he's also not really aware of what's happening inside of him. And that is ever so present throughout this episode, for sure. They are together scrapbooking about their month anniversary, and Justin saying that, his brother told him that you are trying to fix everything all at once. Just try to do one thing at a time. Just try to do one thing at a time. And I hear that. I could see how Justin could be overwhelmed because Alexis is in teacher mode. She's in teacher mode, and she's like saying, okay, here's the presentation about how this was not a good thing to do, and this is something you need to work on. And here's another presentation about what how this is not okay, and this is something you need to work on. And so after so long, he's like, okay, I need to work on this. 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 And it's becoming overwhelming to him. And so from Alexis' standpoint, she's like, you feel like you're doing that? There's a little sarcasm there in her voice. And at the same time, she does want to know if he feels like he's working on everything all at once. And he said, yeah, I do. And I need to step back in and just work on one thing at one time. But I feel like I don't have enough time and that this marriage is doomed. And we see this part of Alexis that is very hopeful and that's encouraging him and trying to see the positive moments that they do have in their relationship, and that there's still time, and that decision day is not just the end day. Then they're going to continue to work on this relationship. So there's like this really hopeful part of her. And she even talked about this at the after party. And I said, now look here, Alexis. You really want this relationship to work. And we see it. I have to give Alexis some brownie points here, because her runner that she has talked about, her track star, and she, even though she did leave that moment where the dogs had their rumble in the apartment, she is sticking and staying when it comes to trying to work this relationship out and communicate with him. There is some stick and stay here. Is there a part of her? Is there a part of her that is kind of creating some emotional distance with Justin? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I understand that as well. And at the same time, she is still trying to move forward. She is still there. She is still there. I also have to give this shout out to the pink cat suit that Alexis wore to the group dinner. I mean, do it. Okay, let's move on. So at the dinner, the couples are giving their updates about how they feel their marriages are going. And Justin gives some encouragement to Mitch for really allowing Krysten to be able to talk about her frustrations and where she's at. And Justin says, Mitch, I've seen the growth in you, and you're doing it. You are improving, and this activates Alexis, and it's written all over her face, her body language, all of it. And Justin picks it up. He does. He picks it up. In the moment, though, he's not able to communicate to her, hey, I see that you're saying that there's something that you don't want to talk about, but your body language is telling me that there is something you have to say, or you feel some type of way about what I have said. This was a conversation to have after dinner. This was a conversation to have after dinner, because Alexis set the boundary that I don't want to talk about it now. She wanted to protect his feelings. She wanted to protect Justin. But there's a part of him that's like, I need to know what that meant. And that was causing the are you sure you don't have anything to say? You don't have anything to say about our marriage, babe? I mean, nothing? I'm sure there's a part of him too that's like insulted and even needing some reassurance, right? He's already in this pessimistic place, feeling like I have so much work to do and I don't have enough time to do it. And I really love this girl, and she's giving me this hope that, hey, this relationship's going to work. But then when we're in a group setting and it comes to us talking about our relationship, she doesn't have anything to say. And that doesn't really give me comfort or reassurance that she's feeling hopeful about our relationship. And so here lies the debacle at the table, where she's saying, Justin, why couldn't you have respected me? This is not what her words said, but this is the underline. Justin, why couldn't you have respected me? I was trying to respect your feelings. I will tell you when something's not okay, even though her body language already told him that something wasn't okay. And he's like, I don't understand why you just couldn't say nice things about me at the table. That's what he did not say, but that's what he was saying. I don't understand why you just couldn't say nice things about me at the table. I say nice things about you. Why can't you say nice things about me? And then she proceeds to say things that are not nice about this is what I'm talking about. You won't regulate yourself. You won't regulate yourself. And he said, I am regulating myself by shutting down in this moment. And then they go back and forth and they both need a break from each other. What I also feel like too what's happening at the table is Krysten's speech and her declaration about, I feel like I came in as a wife and you did not come in knowing that you were a husband. For Alexis, that rang true because she feels like she came into this a wife and Justin did not know. He thought that he was a husband, but he did not know that he didn't have the tools needed to navigate a marriage. And so that is also what led to this situation as well. I, like the rest of the table, feel for both of them. I truly do. I feel for both of them and the work that Alexis feels like she is doing double work in this relationship. I also feel for Justin because he is in a place where he's like, I'm trying, but everything that I do isn't right. Everything I do is not enough for her. I feel for both of them. I don't feel like Alexis is going to have the staying power to have patience for Justin's growth curve that's needed. He's got a long way to go. Justin has a long way to go with communication and emotions. I said it last week's review. Like, he does not know what he's feeling in order to communicate it. He does not know what he's feeling in order to communicate it. That's one of the missing links in their relationship. I don't think that Justin's going to be able to weather the storm, right? Receiving this critique and criticism from Alexis, that's a lot for his wounded child, and I feel like that's going to be overwhelming, and he's going to get discouraged, and he's going to stop. He's going to stop trying. And this is a situation where I just feel like it was two great people coming together, but just not timed appropriately. Justin wasn't ready for this. He really wasn't. And Alexis, and even though Alexis has this part of her that runs and can be passive aggressive sometimes, she is working with it. She's working with those parts to stay in this marriage, So let me know your thoughts on how you feel about these couples, how you feel about Stasia's demanding part, how you feel about Lindsay's part of her that's managing her anxiety, but also she's also delegating a lot of her mental health and well-being and her wounds work on Miguel. What do you think about that? How do you feel about Kristen finally saying what she needed to say? That she's tired. She's tired of bending. How do you feel about that? And how do you feel about Mitch's response and saying that he wants her to be open and honest with him and be her true self with them? How do you feel about Nate saying that Stasia's his best friend and that he is falling in love with her? Do you feel like he really means it? Do you feel like he really means that Stasia's his best friend after a month? How do you feel about Ben and Morgan's relationship? Do you feel like they can come back from this? Do you feel like the punishment fits the crime? Do you feel like Justin and Alexis can make it? Do you feel like they can really make it past decision day? I don't know if they can make it to the reunion episode. They may make it past decision day, but not to the reunion. Not in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. If you have stuck around this long, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, be cool, be calm, be centered. Peace.